Hey, lovely ladies, this is Brenda Tsiaousis, and I am absolutely thrilled that you have joined me today in my home studio in Margate, in my home, where I've been asked to record these videos to you, for you at least. And I'm thrilled to be here to help you to grow your business, and that is a passion of mine, absolutely. When I'm able to share my knowledge, to speak, to encourage and inspire you, that's what lights me up. That is the fire that burns deeply in my heart. So yes, today we are going to speak about something that I see many women not doing, and that is giving themselves the permission to shine. So we're going to get into 3 little steps, okay, of what you can do so that you can allow your light to shine a little bit more. But before I do that, okay, I know that there are many of you who probably don't know me. So let me introduce myself to you, and then we can start building this beautiful relationship. All right, so I'm Brenda Tsiaousis, and I'm known by many as a transformational business coach, a connector of dreams, and I'm also the author of Courage to Bloom. Now, Courage to Bloom was the book that I wrote about my transition, really, from South Africa to Australia 9 years ago. I published it last year, and it shares 8 principles which have really helped me to become who I am and more comfortable with sharing my story and with stepping out into the marketplace to use my gifts to help others to grow their business. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is helping women to truly become who they were created to be. And what I'm really noticing out there is that there are so many passionate, committed women who have got these most incredible gifts and stories to tell, and those that are so talented, but there is something that's missing. And what they've said is that they're really looking for is a business that's congruent with who they are. It's a business where they are anchored in not only the strategy, but where they're anchored in having a good, strong, positive mindset, and also the spiritual component as well. And that's where I come in, is to be able to help them to take those 3 components, blend them together. So that's the strategy, the mindset, and the spiritual component, to be able to create that business that really flourishes for them so that they can do the things that they love and contribute to others in the world as well. But in saying that, all right, I also know that the things that trip women up are things like themselves, the perception of nobody's going to buy from me. Who am I to be able to speak about this? I'm not an expert, all right? Or look, so-and-so's already doing it. Or that's already been done. I know, I've been there and I've done that as well. I started my business in January 2011 after qualifying as a certified coach. I did my diploma of coaching, advanced practitioner coaching, my NLP. I did my emotional intelligence training. I am a graduate marketer. I have a marketing degree. And so suddenly I realized that for me to go out there and build my business, I really needed to take a step out and make myself known. All right. And this was something that I didn't really want to do. I was at home looking after my kids at that stage, loved being a stay-at-home mom, but I realized that you cannot sell a secret. And so neither can you. So if you are having a business and you think that if you stay quietly at home, people are going to find you, let me tell you something, that's just not true, okay? I initially thought that all I needed to do was get qualified as a coach, put up a website, and people would knock down my door and they would come and hire me to coach them. And you know what? It was a rude awakening. 6 months down the line, I woke up one morning with the realization that I had no clients and that nobody was banging my door down, to try and get to me at all. Nobody wakes up in the morning with the concept of, oh my goodness gracious me, let me go and hire myself a coach. No, they don't. They wake up in the morning with a 2 a.m. problem that's woken them up, whether it be, who knows what their problem may be, whether it be that they have, they've got marriage issues because they've picked up a whole lot of weight, lost their confidence, and now they don't feel comfortable with having a relationship with their husbands anymore. Maybe it is the fact that they've run out of money and that they want to put their kids through private school, but they can't afford it. Maybe that holiday that they've been hankering to go on for the past 10 years, but just have not been able to do because things have happened in their, in their home, with their finances. They're not at the position in their business to step out and grow. Whatever it is, okay, that is their problem, and that is what they wake up thinking. So when they're going out there and they're Googling, okay, to solve their problem, they're not Googling coach. They are Googling the problem that they specifically have. And so, for me, when I came to that realization, I realized that I needed to put myself out there and I needed to become a lot more visible. I needed to connect with people, build relationships with them, speak to people about what it was that I did. But more than that, I needed to let people see who I was as a person. All right. the heart. That is what we're all about. When people can connect to your heart, they're more inclined to want to listen to your vision, to your story, to your message. That's when you carry credibility, is when you are able to share from the heart space. Now, I know for many of us, we all start with everything that's here in the head. I know I did a lot as well. And we allow that sometimes to take over a little bit because we're afraid of the rejection when we do share our hearts. But let me tell you something. It has been my experience that the more you open up, the more vulnerable you are, the more you share your heart, the easier it is to connect with the people who are really looking for you. And so this comes down to my what I said initially about us giving ourselves permission to shine, because not often do we do that. Men do it easily. They have no problem with going into a meeting and speaking about the accolades, going to an interview and telling the interviewer about their achievements. They have no problems with talking about, when they do presentations, about the things that they have done, the projects that they have achieved. Yet for women, we cringe a little because we feel like we are becoming sleazy and salesy. But yeah, let me tell you this, we are not, all right? What it is it's having certainty in who you are. It is just knowing at your core who you are as a person, and then knowing that the gifts and the talents that you have, okay, are enough to be able to support other people to achieve what it is that they want to achieve in life. And so hence, that's probably why I've chosen this specific industry, because I know that I have huge amounts of knowledge coming from property development. I've run my own businesses back in South Africa. I have traveled to a few countries for trade shows with my husband. We've owned an import and export company. We have owned a manufacturing concern. I used to work in engineering. I was one of the most senior bankers back in South Africa, nominated as South African Businesswoman of the Year. So yes, I have all of this knowledge in my head, okay, that I can share. And that's what I love to do. It's to be able to share that knowledge, and so that other people can pick up on those pieces and they can turn the stuff that I teach them into stepping stones that they can step on to grow their businesses as well. And so that's why I've chosen specifically to work with women to grow their businesses. And as I mentioned before, we do it covering those three aspects: mindset, strategy, and the spiritual component of it. So what has that all got to do with permission to shine? Well, you know what? Have you heard of the candle that gets lit in any case, and then it starts attracting all the moths to it? Well, that's the concept of giving yourself permission to shine. When you are shining brightly, okay, that means that it's not forced, it is just who you are, authentically connecting with all of those gifts and those talents that are inside of you, and you're allowing that to be seen by sharing it, by helping others, by serving others, right? People start becoming attracted to that light. Okay, so they want to know what makes you tick. They want to know what makes you successful. They want to know, how can you help me to achieve what you achieved? Or how can you guide me on my journey? Whatever that journey may be. You may be a website developer. You may be somebody who's a chef, creating the most amazing pastries for other people. Whatever it is, in whatever you do, when you do it with a spirit of excellence, okay, people can see that and they can feel it. They can actually feel the love and the care that you put into the work that you offer the world. And that is one way of allowing your light to shine, right? Is when you do things not for what you can gain in return, right, but more for what you can give others to help them to improve their life. Now you'll be saying to me, but Brenda, I'm in business to make money. And I know you are. I am too. We're all in business to make money. To profit is good, okay? It is a biblical principle. We need to make a profit, because with our profits, we can go ahead and we can serve more people. We can do more. We can support causes. We can make a bigger impact in this world, right? So it is important to be profitable. But here's the thing, there's a difference between focusing only on making money and focusing on being of service to other people. When we focus on being of service to others, we do it from a space which comes from here. It's the heart space. And that is the space from where you shine, okay? And that is the thing that people see in you. They see that love and that care and the servant's heart that you come with. And that does not mean you being a pushover. It doesn't mean you giving away things for free all the time. It doesn't mean that you do not get to say no. You still need to have boundaries in place, all right? But what it does mean, it means that instead of you focusing on just making money, all right, which comes really from the head space, you sink down into your heart and you build relationships. You nurture the relationship. You give from the heart. You take the other person's interests in your hand, and you carefully cultivate and you water and nurture the seed until it grows. Does that make sense? I hope that I'm making sense, not waffling here. But let's get down to the first point, okay? But first of all, before we can identify whether we're shining or not, or before we know whether we are shining or not, let's look at these 3 questions that I'm going to ask you, okay? These 3 questions may trigger something for you, but it's if you look at these 3 questions and you say, yep, that's me, yep, that's me, yep, that's me, then know one thing, girl, okay? You are not giving yourself permission to shine. All right, so we're going to flick that over. We're going to give you 3 little things, 3 little tips that's going to help you to shine. So the first question, all right, that I'm asking you is, have you been feeling like you're fading into the woodwork again? And that simply means that, do you feel as if you're invisible some days? Do you feel that when you walk into a room, nobody notices you're there? When you're sitting in a networking event, you tend to fade into the background and not answer or allow other people to take the stage and to shine, because perhaps you're afraid, perhaps you have fear, maybe you lack confidence, whatever it is. Okay, that's the first question. Do you answer yes or no to that question? I know for me, there are days when I definitely feel like I'm fading into the woodwork. All right, the second question is, have you ever felt like you've just wanted to hide? Or are you currently feeling like you just want to hide? Because if that's you, all right, you're not allowing your light to shine. All right, lights don't hide. When you hide a light under something, guess what happens? The light gets smothered and nobody can see it, okay? So don't hide your light. The third question is, have you been holding yourself back for such a long time, but deep down on the inside, you know that you've got so much more to give? I know. For me, I answered to this question, that is me, okay? Often I felt like I have held myself back for such a long time. And I know that I have so much to give, all right? But there were certain things that kept me back. And many of those things were the fear of what others would think of me, the fear of what my family would say. What if I outgrew my family and my husband through all the personal development that I did? What if I became a success and things changed so drastically in my life that everything that I knew that was as it is right now isn't the same? What if I create this amazing program and nobody comes and buys it from me? What if I create this amazing program and I can't deliver it? So you can see you are not the only one that has all of these thoughts, but also the thought of knowing that you have so much to give and yet you're holding yourself back in putting it out there because you're afraid, okay? Well, this is now time for that fear to dissipate and for you to realize that you are a beautiful gift and you have a beautiful gift and you are here to shine your light, not just for yourself, but specifically for others so they can walk by the light that you shine. How amazing is that? Just think of those words so that you can shine your light in such a way, okay, that others are able to walk by that light. Oh my goodness me. Imagine being able to gift people with that. That is just beautiful. All right, so here are 3 things that I want you to know. Number 1 is to extend compassion and understanding to yourself, as well as what you extend compassion and understanding to those around you. As women, we are such givers. We are generous to a fault. We love to support and help and care for other people. And we extend compassion and understanding to everybody else. But do we do that for ourselves? Sometimes I don't think we do. So we really need to get good at this, okay? Extending that same compassion that we give to other people, to extend that compassion to ourselves, all right? That's the first thing. The second thing is to praise your small wins and to notice your baby steps towards change. That means change happens incrementally, okay? And it gathers momentum. So often we stop and we look at where we are and we think that we have achieved nothing. We think, oh my goodness me, it doesn't look like we've even moved or budged an inch, all right? But what if you looked back at where you were standing and then you looked at where you are now? You would see that there's a gap. That gap between where you were and where you are now is the small win. It is that little step that you've taken towards change, okay? And if you keep on moving forward, that gap will become bigger, all right? So celebrate and acknowledge those small wins. Praise yourself for them. As women, we can often be terrible at acknowledging our own wins, our own achievement. So I want to encourage you today, okay, to go out there and to praise yourself, to acknowledge your wins. And the third thing is to remove the idea about how you think, okay, things should be done. This is a biggie for me even, all right? Because sometimes we make a plan in our head and then we expect that plan to work out exactly the way we think it should work out. But here it is. Life does not work that way. We get thrown curveballs, we have challenges, we stop ourselves, we become our own stumbling block many times, and things don't always work out the way we have planned them. So when you remove, okay, when you actually remove the idea of how things are supposed to work out, you give yourself a lot of freedom to shine. You give yourself the permission, okay, to let things happen as and when they should happen. Now, I hope that those 3 little tips have been really helpful to you. And I hope that even through the beginning, leading up to these 3 little tips, the questions that I've asked you will get you thinking as to, do you relate with, those questions? Because if those questions relate to you, all right, then you know that you're not allowing your light to shine enough. Okay, so those extra 3 steps, the ones that I shared with you about the compassion, about not trying to worry too much about how the plan is unfolding, and to celebrate your small wins, okay, and the changes that have already taken place. Those are the things that I want you to focus on this next week. All right, so go take your journal now for a moment, and for the next week, what I want you to have a look at, okay, is to ask yourself this question. All right, what is it that I want to set for myself this week, that if I take one step forward, all right, it will already move me one step closer to where I want to be? Where and how can I allow myself to shine today? And then give yourself permission to shine. I have this beautiful little frame, which is going to be back to front. I know it is. Okay, there we go. So sorry if it is, but it says, if it is time to shine. Now, this was given to me by one of my coaches and one of my mentors on a retreat or an event that I went to many years ago. It is your time to shine. So step out there, lovely ladies. Give yourself permission to shine. And if you really and truly want to shine and you feel like you're totally stuck, reach out to somebody who wants to see you succeed. Grab yourself an accountability buddy. Connect with somebody in a group that you belong to, or find yourself a coach who will believe in you enough until you are able to borrow from that belief and then believe enough in yourself too. I hope this has been helpful and not too long. Take care. I look forward to seeing you soon. We're going to speak again in the next video, and I'm going to be sharing something else which I will share at the beginning of that video, so I'm not going to give it away right now, okay? But look me up. I'm on Facebook as well under Brenda and Tsiaousis. That's my full name. I have a group as well called Business by Design for Women in Business. It is a faith-based group for women who do want to combine those 3 components, strategy, mindset, and the spiritual component, in creating a beautiful, thriving business for themselves, so that they can impact the world more and to share their beautiful message with people around them and in their sphere of influence, and to be able to obviously to realize their own potential. So take care. Love you heaps. I'm going to also send you a link soon to my book. Love you to read it so that you can get to know more about my journey as well and how I can help you with yours. Take care, guys. Love you heaps. Bye.